Welcome to the SCLS podcast series, powered by Fortinus Events. SCLS is a global platform where logistics, procurement, and fulfillment leaders unite to shape the future of supply chain excellence. Join our conversations with industry pioneers and disruptors as they reveal the strategies and innovations moving the world forward.
Welcome back to Fortinus Events Global Podcast Series, the show where we sit down with innovators who are reshaping industries and driving the future of business. Today we are talking about digital transformation in logistics, procurement, one of the most complex but critical aspects of global trade. Our guest is someone who has been at the forefront of solving inefficiencies in freight procurement by combining technology, transparency, and sustainability. We're joined by Mathew, the founder and CEO of Logiseye. For those who may not know, Logiseye is a cloud-based digital ecosystem that simplifies logistics procurement. Their platform allows companies to search, compare, award, pay, route, and track shipments all in one place while leveraging AI, machine learning, and advanced analytics to drive smarter, faster decisions. With a strong mission towards sustainability, Logiseye is also leading the charge toward carbon-free logistics and a greener supply chain. Mathew, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right.
And thank you for the opportunity.
No worries. Before we dive in, could you briefly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your journey that led to founding Logiseye?
Okay. So, I'm the founder and CEO of Logiseye Solution, which is a tech startup in the logistics segment based in Dubai. We completed almost 5 years. I was with DHL Global Forwarding, which is the biggest logistics service provider in the world. I worked with them for almost 26 years. That gave me a great experience where I was interacting with multinational companies, including Fortune 500 companies, major local companies. And plus, I was interacting with the carriers and different freight forwarders. So basically, that has given me an opportunity to understand the pain that is going through all the different stakeholders in the value chain. And I found that digital transformation is at very nascent stage in logistics, so compared to other industries. And people for several decades, they struggle with, enormous manual processes. The IT systems are all stagnant, fragmented, and total inefficiencies in the whole process. So I thought it's high time that we bring in technology to transform the way logistics, procurement, and management is handled globally. So we started with freight procurement initially during the COVID time, but then with interaction with the more and more customers, and especially with the enterprise customers, we integrated many additional solutions into our ecosystem. So what we are targeting is to have one ecosystem which will handle end-to-end logistics, which is starting from the routing, rate procurement, rate management, freight audit, end-to-end visibility, supply chain intelligence. So people don't have to go to the fragmented systems which are all inefficient. So they get everything under one ecosystem, and best part of it is the ecosystem will come to the customer without any additional investment, because our solution is going to bring almost like 700 to 800% return on investment. So this is a game changer. Yes, that's where we are.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. It's truly inspiring, and we look forward for more achievements for Logiseye. Now, let's move on to the first question for today. Logiseye champions digital transformation in logistics procurement. What inspired the formation of your cloud-based ecosystem, and how did the idea evolve into the powerful digital marketplace you offer today?
Okay. Now, you look at the way the freight procurement is handled globally. Okay. The major customers basically they handle, they have a contracted rate for most of their major trade lanes, where it is all Excel driven, starting from Fortune 500 companies to even major local organizations. It's all driven through Excel, and this is a very complex process. So to run an RFI and to complete an RFQ, it takes several months. Okay, and the data analytics to take a decision, it takes months. Now, even now, almost 40-50% of their shipments are going based on spot rate procurement, which is absolute manual process where for each shipment they send emails to different freight forwarders, some of them with a Excel RFQ template. They don't get the rates on time, so the rates what are coming from different freight forwarders will be non-comparable. So they cannot take a proper decision, and because of these complex manual processes, they always stick to 3 or 4 forwarders because they cannot get the data collected from large number of suppliers and get the comparisons done. So it's an absolute nightmare. So what we have done is we have a marketplace where customers can get instant rate. That's number one. Number two, we have a reverse auction platform, which is e-bidding, where they can invite large number of freight forwarders to participate into an e-bidding. And through that process, the freight forwarders or the service providers, they get to know what is their ranking. They have an option to modify their prices based on their pricing model or pricing policies. And ultimately, customer will get large pool of suppliers and best possible pricing. So we have seen that customers save anything from 5% to 20-25% in the freight procurement. So this will bring in total transparency into the process. They save a lot of time because for the logisticians currently for freight procurement, it is just Excel and emails. And imagine if somebody has got 20-25 shipments a day, the number of emails that they need to send out, number of responses they need to run through, tabulate these rates and take a decision. It's a nightmare. Whereas you get all that under one platform, you have full visibility, full transparency, and the bidding process saves almost like 65% of your time, the procurement time, and you have substantial cost savings. Yeah. So this is what we have to do.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, moving on to our next question. Many companies still rely on manual freight procurement processes. What are the biggest inefficiencies you have seen, and how does Logisi's AI, ML, and analytics driven platform address these challenges?
Okay. So, as explained in the previous question, it's almost like a complete manual processes. Now, what is the result? The result is one, the time that is lost. Okay, a lot of time is lost in manually managing the freight procurement. Number two, they end up paying very high cost because they always depend on a very few suppliers. So what is available in the market, they are not familiar with, and freight forwarders who are regularly quoting, they will keep on increasing their margins, knowing that this customer is not going to any other service provider. So ultimately, they end up paying high cost. Now, transparency is a big concern because you may get better rates, and if the logistics guys in procurement, if they don't share those rates and award it to their favorite suppliers, you lose, ending up high cost, for your shipments. Now, so you have the time lost, the cost that you are paying, the high cost that you are paying, the lack of transparency. And in addition, what happens is, when it is the manual process where you get the rates in different formats from different service providers and you make your own assumptions to do the comparison while awarding a shipment, most of the time you end up having invoice disputes, billing errors, duplicate billing. Okay, so the global average is that customers end up paying anything from 7 to 10% because of billing errors, duplicate billing, and double billing. That's happening. Okay, so when you look at the digital procurement through the system, through the Logisitic, for example. Here we are talking about improving the productivity by 65%. So it's a substantial time saving. Okay, and you get all your freight requests and freight responses under one platform with automated comparison. Okay, and you can assign different parameters for the ranking of the suppliers. So you can get the ranking simultaneously, and you get the best possible price, and you can award the shipment from here, plus route the shipment to the suppliers and get the full visibility. So it's one go-to platform where you save substantially.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that very important point with us. Now, moving on to our next question. Your dynamic platform allows importers, exporters, and service providers to search, compare, award, pay, route, and track shipments all in one place. How has consolidating these workflows improved transparency, cost savings, and overall user experience?
Okay. Now, we are talking to many big customers wherein, as I said, they maintain either fragmented systems, they depend on different IT solutions which don't talk to each other. So ultimately, they end up spending a lot of time to update the information manually into Excel sheets or to these different systems. Okay. What we are bringing is one ecosystem which work seamlessly. That is the word, seamlessly, connecting all the stakeholders in the value chain, bringing total efficiency. And the system is so easy to use. Now, when you look at the logistics function, okay, end to end, you have contracted rates with the carriers and freight forwarders. You have a lot of shipments where you have to manually procure the rates. You have a lot of local rates that are applicable. Okay. Then you have to route the shipment. You have to select manually what are the rates applicable. Okay, currently. And the rate calculation is very complex. Okay, so that is one reason why there are not many companies into automating this process. So the rate tabulation, so rate checking for a particular shipment, what are the applicable rates, and arriving at what will be the cost. It's a tedious process. Now you route the shipment, so you have a shipping request, you have to identify the applicable rates. If the rate is not there, you have to manually procure the rates. Then the shipment is awarded. Then look at the current scenario. A customer, if they are using 5 to 10 different service providers, for them to get visibility of their shipments, they need to either access the respective TMS solutions of the freight forwarders. They need to log into the respective carrier websites. Some of them maintain a manual Excel tracker. So some of the freight forwarders, they send manual Excel trackers. You need to consolidate that and look at the Excel sheet, which may come at the end of the day or the following day. So when you look at the current process, the rate management is a manual process where they need to procure the rate, and then for a particular shipping request, they need to manually compare the rate to arrive at what is the total logistics cost going to be. They have a lot of local costs that need to be tabulated separately. Now they will look at the individual TMS systems of the freight forwarders or the respective carrier websites to get the information. And many of the freight forwarders send an Excel tracker which they need to consolidate, which normally comes at the following day. So ultimately, it's a very, very time-consuming process wherein, and plus the supplier invoicing. So supplier invoicing is a manual process wherein the customer has to run through individual line items of each invoice, and most of the time you may end up having 10 to 15 line items for a particular invoice. So it's a nightmare. Imagine if a customer has thousands of shipments a month, it's a nightmare. Okay. Now, workflow is a manual process. So, from one function to the other function within logistics, it's a manual process. So what we are looking at is seamlessly connect all the stakeholders under one platform, get the rates into the system. So wherever you have the contracted rates, get the rates into the system, get all the standard local charges into the system. So the moment you have a shipping request, system knows if there is a contracted rate and who are the suppliers and what are the rates applicable, so they can select the supplier from there directly. If there is no rate, they can automatically convert the shipping request into a EBIT and procure the rate. You have the option to consolidate the shipment so that you get your most cost efficient freight mode and freight movement. Then the end-to-end workflow is automated. So somebody sitting in customs clearance, they will know that these are the shipments that I need to clear for the day, and it will send an alert to the manager concerned if the customs clearance is not completed within the set timeline. Okay, so like that, each function knows in the automated workflow what they are supposed to do. And so that means from the time of routing all the way up to the delivery of the shipment and return of the container. Plus, suppliers can upload the invoices, the freight invoices into the platform, which does the freight audit instantly. So if the freight invoice is wrong, it gets rejected there itself. So there is no question of a dispute between the supplier and the customer where they are holding the invoices because of discrepancies. So here it gets rejected there itself. The freight forwarder has to correct the invoice and upload the correct invoice. And for the customer, they get instant comparison. What was the approved cost? What is the invoice from this guy, from the supplier? If there is a discrepancy and if there is a variance set, you get all the information. So if I have 100 invoices for the day, it may take less than a minute for me to approve the invoice. Whereas it must have been taken, so many hours to manually verify all these invoices. And beauty of it is, in many of the times, the customer get the supplier invoices very late. So for them to find out the landed cost, it's a problem. So in this model, when the shipment is reaching the warehouse, customer will know what is their landed cost, even at a per unit level. So this will give total transparency in the procurement, total efficiency, and most importantly, nowadays a lot of time is wasted because, as I said, with the fragmented systems or large number of Excel-driven trackers maintained by different departments, for them to generate the monthly performance report or the logistics cost, you name it, whatever KPI reports, it's such a tedious process. Here you have all the data available under one ecosystem, and we have AIML-enabled data analytics, which will help you for data-driven decision making. And this is so interactive. The customers can get any sort of analytics done in seconds. So this is the beauty of it. So starting with rate procurement, end-to-end workflow automation, visibility, supply chain intelligence with total transparency. This is what we are offering. So our TMS solution, that is what we are launching now. It is called Logihub. So we are launching this TMS solution now, focusing on large enterprises, wherein they should save anything from 5 to 15% of their logistics spend, improve their productivity by, as I said, over 65%, and this gives a return on investment of over 700 to 800%. So, which is a game changer. Okay.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing such a detailed explanation. Truly appreciate that. Now, moving on to our next question. Logiseye emphasizes sustainability with the mission of carbon-free logistics. How does your platform help companies reduce their carbon footprint? And what digital tools are enabling this green transition?
Okay. So when we talk about a carbon-free logistics, that's what people talk about, which is impossible because logistics and transport, it contributes almost like 24% of the global carbon emission, which is the biggest share, you can say, okay, when you look at one segment. Now, what we do is we have several solutions built into the system to reduce the carbon emission. So starting with option to consolidate your shipment. So rather than moving individual shipments separately, we have the option to consolidate the shipments based on different parameters, whether it's the cargo types or it is by business unit, or from a particular origin for different business units, by mode of transport, you name it. So we have the option to automate the consolidation process. So system can set different consoles, and shipping requests will get automatically assigned based on the set parameters to the respective consoles. So instead of moving 20 shipments as individual shipments, you may be able to consolidate that into one shipment as a full container load. So imagine the savings that they will achieve. Now, exactly similar way, we have the option to consolidate shipments. So suppose I have 20 air freight shipments arrived at one airport. Now, for me, most of the time, I arrange individual trucks to do this transportation. Okay. So here, the system automatically assign that to different trucks based on the capacity of the trucks. So I can have 10 shipments going into one truck, another 5 going into the second truck, and the remaining going into third truck. So currently, if I am using 10 trucks, I may be able to consolidate it and move it under 3 trucks, for example. So this will save substantial carbon emission. Okay. Number 2, we provide optimized routing. So system keep track of the different trade lanes. It keep tracks of the cost, and then our tracking solution as well as the carrier schedule solution, which will give you the carbon emission applicable for that particular shipment. So nowadays, what's happening? Since they need to report the carbon emission for their sustainability reports, they have some Excel tools through which, once the shipment is executed, they calculate what is the carbon emission data and they report it. Whereas that is, it's not going to serve any purpose for reducing your carbon emission. Here, using our tool for tracking as well as for the carrier schedule, you can take proactive action. So you look at the carrier schedule, you will find out that, okay, if these 10 containers, if I move through this carrier on this route, this is going to be the total carbon emission. Whereas if I move it on a different carrier, on a different route, this is going to be the carbon emission. If I change it from air freight to ocean freight, this is going to be. So basically, you have the responsibility to this world, depending, of course, on your transit time and when you require the product. You should be able to plan your procurement properly, which will save substantial carbon emission. And you have the reports readily available from the system. You don't have to manually prepare the carbon emission data. So these are the 3 areas we are looking at. In addition to that, 4 areas. In addition to that, we have an inbuilt end-to-end document management in the system. So when we do the end-to-end document management, basically, logistics is an area where there is a lot of paperwork. For each shipment, they make, 6 to 8 sets of complete shipping documents. Now, once you have digitalization of these documents at each stage, end-to-end, built into the system, you can access those for your submission to the different departments. And nowadays, everybody accepts digital copies in most of the countries. So this will save millions of trees worldwide. So this will all, save the world from this very high carbon emission that is from logistics and supply chain and transportation, basically.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Such an important point. Now, I'm moving on to our final question. Real-time visibility and performance dashboards are core to your offering. How do these features empower your clients to make smarter decisions? And what are the most valued insights they gain from your analytics tool?
Okay, very good question. See, most of the companies, when you look at currently, how they get the visibility of the shipments and how they get the data analyzed for proper decision making and for proactive decision making instead of reactive decision making. So this is where our system adds value. Okay. Now, which are the areas of visibility? Okay. Now, when you talk about visibility, first thing is visibility on the status of your shipment from the time it is picked up from the shipper all the way up to it is delivered to the warehouse. People should know, the customers should know what is the visibility, what is the where the shipment is, when is it expected to arrive, if there is a delay, if there is a port congestion, if the shipment has arrived, when is it going to attract demurrage or detention after your free storage. These are all, manually tracked nowadays. So whereas through our integrated system, you get full visibility under one platform. So you move shipments through different freight forwarders, different carriers. You can track everything under one platform. It sends you alert when there is a delay in the shipment. So what was your initial estimated time of arrival versus now because of port congestion, or if a shipment is offloaded, whatever scenario, you get the alert instantly so that you can take the proactive action. Okay. And you don't have to go to different TMS systems of different freight forwarders or the online sites of the carriers. You get everything under one platform. Okay. Or you don't have to look at the Excel sheets, everything under one platform. So this is live shipment tracking for all modes of transport across the different geographies. Okay. That is number one. Number two, the customers need to evaluate the performance of the suppliers, whether it is the freight forwarders or transport companies or the carriers, which is always a manual process. And when major customers go into a monthly or quarterly business review meeting, the atmosphere is like a war room, wherein customer has to prove that they did not perform and supplier has to prove that they performed. Now here, no one has to get into the war. System will tell you what is the performance. The supplier can come well prepared, proactively, where they failed and what action they are implementing to fix the problem. Okay. And customer already knows where each customer is performing compared to the other customers, other suppliers, and where they need to improve. So it becomes a friendly meeting where it's more importantly understanding the issues mutually and take proactive actions to fix it so that problem get resolved immediately. Third is basically for the CFOs and the supply chain managers on the cost and efficiency. So currently, to get the reports on the total logistics cost, the logistics people need to depend on the finance department to get the reports from different account heads, tabulate that. Now, how do you analyze that based on monthly cost or quarterly cost, etc.? It is based on what cost is booked within the finance. Okay. And you always have a delay in getting the supplier invoices from the freight forwarders. So, and this is a manual process. Now, what all analytics, what do? You tabulate all this information from different Excel trackers, and then each Excel tracker follow different formats, different column headers. So it becomes a nightmare to tabulate all this data and get your analytics done. Here, it's an inbuilt analytics. You have your KPI reports, you have your performance reports, everything built in. With each and every shipment, this data gets automatically updated and you have all the reports instantly available. And it is interactive reports that are available. Plus, we also integrated natural language processing into this, AI-enabled. You have to just type in some questions and it will give you the reports instantly. If you need it graphically, if you need a summary of the reports, you need predictive analytics, you can get everything by just typing. It will go to the respective field. So there is no coding required. You can get all the reports, any analytics instantly. Plus, you can have your predictive analytics. So you have the data available for the last 2 years. Now you can set different parameters. You can make your budget very easily. What is your logistics cost for the next 2 years, 3 years? It becomes very easy. So, and then the last one is the carbon footprint reports.
So you get full visibility on your carbon footprint based on all your shipments. So ultimately, it's a data enabled decision making, which is very easy to use. It's not the complex coding you have to do or complex Excel sheets and graphs you have to make every time and then transfer that into PowerPoint to present it. Here, you are sitting with the system in a management meeting, you are playing around with few things, and you have the report ready to display for your management meeting. So it saves substantial time. So these are the things what we are looking at. So ultimately, it is saving cost, efficiency, visibility, and data-driven supply chain intelligence and decision making. So this is what we will offer.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, Matthew, this has been such a fascinating discussion. We have covered everything from the inspiration behind Logiseye to the technology powering your platform to the impact on sustainability and real time decision making. Before we wrap up, I'd like to share some exciting news with our listeners. Logisize will be joining us as an exhibitor at the second annual Supply Chain and Logistics Summit, Saudi Arabia 2025. We are very excited to have them on board, showcasing their innovations to industry leaders from across the region. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe, share, and stay tuned for more episodes with leaders shaping the future of logistics and supply chain. Until next time, take care and keep innovating.
Thank you very much. And looking forward to see you and
Yes,
some big customers
yes.
in Saudi Arabia.